Hi, this is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use artboards in Photoshop as a way to improve your process when it comes to creating digital paper packs. First off, let's go ahead and create a new document. So we'll go File, New. The dimensions I'm going to use for this document is 3600 pixels by 3600 pixels. Make sure Artboards is selected. We're going to do resolution at 300 pixels per inch. Color mode is RGB color, and then background content set to transparent, and then just click create. To start with, I'm going to create a rectangle that is the size of our canvas. So we'll access our rectangle tool. I'm going to hit Shift U until I get to the rectangle tool here, and then I'm just going to click on the canvas here, and then we're going to go 3600 pixels at 3600 pixels and click OK. Checking at my properties here, I'm just going to change my appearance fill to black and then add no stroke here. Accessing the move tool V on the keyboard, I'm just going to center this object here on the canvas here, and then I'm going to go into my layers panel here. I'm just going to rename this layer pattern 1, and then I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to convert to smart objects. Let's double click in this layer here, turning off this rectangle. I'm going to add an adjustment layer. I'm going to add a pattern adjustment layer here. Just clicking on OK, and then I'm just going to select one of the patterns that I have available here in my patterns panel. You can use any pattern that you want to. I'm going to use my diamond pattern here. I do have a video tutorial on how to create this diamond pattern, which I will leave a link in the description below. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my shape layer here, again selecting it, and then I'm just going to make it white for the moment so we have the two different colors here. And then I'm going to go Command or Control S and then Command or Control W to exit out, and we have our artboard with our pattern layer. I'm going to go ahead and change the name of this artboard. I'm going to do 1 and then just the name Lemon Paper Lab. One of the benefits of naming your artboard is when you go to save it, that Photoshop will save it according to the name of that artboard. So if you go through this process and you pre-name your artboards, it will be a quick way to have it automatically saved with those names there. So now we have our first artboard here. To access the artboard tool, you're going to go to the move tool here. You can right click and then you'll see the artboard tool here. You could also click Shift V and that will bring up our artboard tool. And then when you click there, you'll see these plus icons which will show up here. And then if you just click on it, it will create a new artboard next to it here. Let's go ahead and undo that, Command or Control Z. Also from the layers panel, you can right click and then you can click to duplicate artboard. You can give it a new name and it will automatically duplicate that artboard as well. We'll go ahead and undo that, Command or Control Z. And then finally, what you can also do with this artboard selected here, you can go Option, click, and then you can drag it out to create another duplicate artboard. So those are a couple of different ways in which you can create an additional artboard. Now that we have our second artboard, let's go ahead and change the name here. We'll just do 2 Lemon Paper Lab, and then I always like to have it ordered down, moving left to right, with the most artboard on the left being on the top and then going down from there. So just having it oriented like that. Let's go ahead and do that again. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out, Command or Control minus. And then let's click on this one here, and then we'll just go Option click again to drag. And then it will bring up those guidelines of if you want it to be visually symmetric, to have the same amount of distance between the artboards. Photoshop will show you those guides as well. So we'll go ahead and rename this one here 3 Lemon Paper Lab. Okay, and then I will reorder it here as well. Go ahead and repeat this process until you have 10 artboards. Now that I've created my 10 artboards and that I have named each of the artboards, I'm now going to add a color layer for each of the different artboards. So clicking on this pattern layer, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the smart object. So we're going to go right click, and this time instead of just duplicating this layer, we're going to go to new smart object via copy. I'm going to rename this to color 1, and then I'm going to bring this one below our pattern layer, and then I'm just going to before that, I'm just going to jump into this pattern layer. We're going to turn off this background layer, Command or Control S to save it there, and then Command or Control W to close it out there. And then on this color layer here, I will click into this smart object here. We can get rid of the pattern layer, and then I have my rectangle here, and then I'm going to use a color palette that I've created just of the basic primary color. So I'm going to select red here, Command or Control S, and then Command or Control W. And then now we have a new background color for this first object here. And then instead of making it black and red, I'm going to jump back into this pattern layer here, and then I'm going to make it white instead. So we have our pattern layer, fill layer here. I'm going to add a solid color adjustment layer. I'm going to select FFF for white, and then I'm just going to hover between the two layers, option click to turn that white to make that clipping mask, and then I'm going to save that, Command or Control S, and then it will update, and then Command or Control W to exit, and now we have it white, in which we can't really see until we add the additional background layers here. So we have finished this first artboard, we have our pattern layer, and we have our color layer. So clicking on this color layer, I'm going to right click. I'm going to go ahead and new smart object via copy. I'm going to name it color 2. And then we are going to bring this down to our second artboard here. Closing out of the first one, we will double click on this smart object, selecting orange, saving it, Command or Control S, Command or Control W, and then let's bring it below our pattern layer here. We'll go ahead and duplicate this one as well. So we're going to go new smart object via copy. And what that does, it just creates a duplicate smart object, but one that is separate from the original. So we will rename this one color 3. We will double click in and select yellow, Command or Control S to save it, Command or Control W to close it, and then we will bring this down to our third layer and layer it below our pattern. Let's do the same thing here. Right click, new smart object via copy. We'll double click color 4, click in on the smart object, select the next color, Command or Control S, Command or Control W, and then we will bring that into the next layer here, and then positioning it below there. You want to continue to do that until you have filled it out for all of your artboards. And now that I've repeated that process and added a different color for each of the artboards, I want to show you the power of creating it this way and what you can do. So let's click back into our pattern layer here. So originally we had our diamond pattern, and now let's go ahead and select, I'll just select another one. I'm accessing the pattern fill layer here, select another pattern here, and then I'm just going to go Command or Control S to save it, and then Command or Control W to close out. And now you have changed the pattern and has automatically updated it within this document because we were using a smart object. So this can now be a template document for you. You can add additional artboards if you want to say have a 20-page paper pack or a 10-page paper pack. You can change how many artboards you have. And then you can easily adjust the pattern to create this fun rainbow pack with your different patterns here. The next process is we are going to save it, and this is one of the awesome features of Artboards. So let's go File, Export, Export As. On the left here, you will see the different artboards you have, and then you can just click to select them all if you want to see them all in the preview window here. Here at the top, you can add a suffix. So we've already labeled each of it, but if you want to add an additional modifier to these files, you can. I like to add a hyphen, and then you can say diamond. The only thing with the suffix is it only allows for so many characters, so you won't be able to add a long name to the end of it, but you can at least type it in, and then Photoshop will automatically append it to each of these artboard names, so you will see that in your saved files. Under File Settings, we have our format set to JPEG, and then when saving digital scrapbook paper, generally you want a higher quality, so you can click on the quality here, and then you can bring it up to the highest if you'd like. The higher the quality, the larger the file, so if you find that if your files are a little bit too large, then you can maybe drop it down to Excellent, which will just make it slightly smaller files here. And then here under image size, we see the size of our image. And then I just like to click embed color profile there, and then you can click to export. Go ahead and select your file, and then you can just click on open. And then you can navigate to your save folder, and then you'll notice that you have each of the files are saved separately, and then we have our appended suffix here with the diamond at the end. And then you can just see we have each of our different files here, and they are saved at the appropriate dimensions. This is one of the features that I love about Artboards, is that you can save multiple files at once, and it definitely helps to improve your workflow. So now you could take this document here, and if you want to create different paper packs using this color palette, you can just click into the smart object for your pattern and then change it out, and then you can quickly save another paper pack. Let's go ahead and take this process one step further by automatically having a thumbnail created for your paper pack. Let's click on this top artboard here. Let's select it here, and then let's go to our artboard tool, Shift V. Let's go ahead and drag this one up to create a new artboard here. Changing over to my properties here, I'm going to change the dimensions of the artboard. I'm going to go, let's go ahead and lock this here, and we're going to go 2000 pixels, which will automatically cause that one to change as well. We now have our new dimensions for this, which is appropriate for Etsy. And so just to drag it down so it looks more visually appealing in our canvas here, I'm just going to click Shift and then just bringing it down here until it gives me that guide. Clicking on this artboard here, I'm going to give it a name. We'll just call it digital paper. And then when you go to save it, it will add that suffix to it as well. So let's zoom in on this artboard, Command or Control plus here, making it bigger here. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the pattern layer for the moment. We have our color layer here. I'm zooming out so we can see it. This is a smart object, so I can make adjustments to it without having it affect my original smart object. So I will accept that for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and turn on some guides. So I have 10 different digital papers that I'm going to have. So we're going to go View, New Guide Layout. This time I'm going to have my columns set to 5 and my rows set to 2, and then we'll just click on OK here. I'm accessing this layer again. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here, and then I'll just drag it to fill out that area there. This will take a little bit of time to set up, but once you have it set up, it will definitely will be useful. So we're going to go ahead and scroll down to our color 2. I'm going to select it. I'm going to duplicate this layer. We have our document here, but here you can change the artboard. So we're going to move it to our digital paper artboard. We now have it show up here. So we will select this layer, zooming out because of how large it is. We're going to size it down to our next area here. Clicking on OK. And then we are going to do that for our color 3, right click, duplicate, add it to our digital paper artboard. We will size it down to the next one here. Clicking on OK. And then we will, just to keep it organized in here, I'm going to organize these layers. We will move down to our color 4. Right click, duplicate layer, move it to our digital paper. We will size it down. Okay. And then you'll want to continue to repeat that for all of the 10 colors. I've gone ahead and repeated that process for each of the different colors. So now we have the basis of our thumbnail here. We are going to add our pattern layer. So we'll turn this back on. Let's go ahead and position it up front of our first one here. And then hitting Shift, I can size this down so it looks a little bit more appropriate to how you want it to look in your thumbnail. You can click OK there. And then I'm going to make a clipping mask to our first layer here. So hovering between the layers, Option click to create that clipping mask there. And then I'm just going to, I decided to change the sizing of it here so it matches our rectangle, and then we'll just select OK there. So now I'm going to duplicate this layer, and then we'll get rid of the copy here and then just click OK. And then I'm going to move that down to our next layer and then just click on OK. And then we'll do that again, duplicate, just get rid of our copy here. Move it down, right click to create our clipping mask. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my guide. So I'm going to go view clear guides here. For simplicity's sake, you could always unclick this clipping mask and you could see it all there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a drop shadow. So I'm going to double click on this color layer. I'm going to click to select a drop shadow, and then you can play with how your drop shadow looks. So you can change how much opacity it has, you can change the base color, you can change the overall distance of it here. And you can see the different details I have here, but I'm just going to click on OK. When zooming in on this so we can see a little bit better, if you just have your pattern, one pattern version over it, you don't get that effect where it looks like one is stacked on top of each other when you have the drop shadow engaged. So if I click to create that clipping mask here again, and then if I bring up the intensity of this drop shadow, then it will look like one is above the other. On some patterns, it's more noticeable than others. Bring down this there, and we'll just click OK there. So we have it clipped to those, and then I'm going to, now that I have my drop shadow set, I'm going to right click. We are going to scroll down here, and then I'm going to copy layer style. Clicking on color 2, scroll down, I'm going to select paste layer style, and it's going to add that drop shadow. And then I will continue to do that for each of these different colors. I've added the drop shadows to each of the different colors. And now I'm going to go through and duplicate each of the pattern layers and add a clipping mask to each of the colors as well. I've now finished it for each of the different colors. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to bring in my kind of branded logo. Coming over to another template I have created, I'm just going to right click to duplicate this layer. I'm going to bring it in to our document here. and then make sure the artboard digital paper is selected. Moving back into it, we'll bring this to the top. Clicking on this layer, I'm just going to make sure I have that layer style copied again. Making sure my white rectangle is selected, I'm just going to right click, and then I'm going to again paste the layer style. That way it has the same drop shadow look as well. So what you have noticed on this is I have the just my logo here, and then I've got the 10 digital papers, 12 by 12 inch at 300 dpi. Here I will change out the general name of what my paper pack is. But before we do that, let's go ahead and again, let's click on our pattern layer. So we have our original pattern here that we had selected. Let's go ahead and go back and select our diamond pattern. I'm going to go Command or Control S to save it, Command or Control W to exit out. And then what you'll see is that and then zooming out here, and then what you see, it has updated it on our digital papers here, and as well as updated on our little thumbnail here. Zooming in, to finish off this one here, I will just click on my text and then just go rainbow diamond, and then just selecting OK there. I will zoom out a little bit here. So we have the name of our digital paper pack, and we have it set there. I can do the same process where we go to File, Export, Export As, and then I have my digital paper as well as my thumbnail. So this is definitely a quick way to create multiple digital paper packs using different patterns, and then you can change the color scheme. You can make, say you want to create a polka dot pattern, you can create one for with a fall color scheme, and you can just change out the colors, or you can create one for maybe a summer color scheme. And with this setup, you already have a thumbnail created as well for that digital paper pack. So I just wanted to show you this because it's an easy way to create multiple digital paper packs using the artboards and using the smart objects, and it's just a way to speed up your workflow. Thank you for watching this video on how I use artboards to create digital paper packs in Photoshop. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. Be sure to check out my other tutorials on how to create patterns in Photoshop. Thank you for watching this video. This is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. See you next time.